Welcome back to Chris Veve Journey. I'm happy to have you guys here. I know you haven't seen any videos from me for the last 14 days. Yeah, for 2 weeks I was out of order because my computer system got fried. I tried to replace my graphics card to enhance the experience in my videos and to work with some 3D stuff. But yeah, it totally wrecked my system. Totally crashed everything. Like the whole computer was crashed. I have a bunch of new parts now in my computer, which is kind of a good thing because now it's way faster. And for the first time ever, I can actually run Unreal Engine 5, so that's great. But it also ruined my installation. I had to reinstall Windows from the ground up. And yesterday, I made a video yesterday for the She-Hulk drop, and yeah, my software wasn't set up in the right way, so I couldn't even release it. I could release the German one. That was the one I released, but that was even after the drop, and it would have taken another 3 hours to upload the other one, so I skipped that. But now I'm here, and I'm happy if you are here too and you watch this video. So today we will talk about the both comic drops that are happening today, and that will be Avengers Annual 10 from Veve, and of course the Wonder Woman 204 by DCNFT. Yes, so let's talk about those two things. So before we go into the comic books, I just want to remind you guys, well, I have a deja vu because I was talking about yesterday, but I didn't tell you. So tonight, 7 p.m. German time. So that is 7 p.m. German time, Berlin time. You need to check out what it is in your time zone. But we will have Reese for an AMA on our German channel, and that's the channel from Captain Veve. It's not our channel, it's Captain Veve's channel. He's a German YouTuber also, and yeah, he does great work. He releases a tons of video, way more than I do, and he's always up to date. And he has Reese as a guest on his channel, and also some of us other German YouTubers will be there, and we all prepared questions for Reese. So that will be pretty interesting, will be live. You can join in. There will also be an open stage for like 15 minutes. So if you have questions, come in, put your questions in the chat, or maybe you even have a chance to ask in person. That would also be great. So if you're interested, check it out. I will link Captain Veve's channel in my info box, so you can go there, go to his channel, subscribe to his channel. I would highly suggest it. And yeah, be there when we talk with Reese and ask some questions. So with that out of the way, let's talk comics. So we have Avengers Annual 10 dropping at Veve, and this is the first appearance of Rogue, which is pretty damn cool. I'm a big fan of the character. So we already had Gambit, and Gambit and Rogue actually right now are married in the in the Marvel universe. So they're both parts of the X-Men team, of the, well, let's say of the 90s X-Men team. And that is pretty great. This is the first appearance of the character. This issue was released in 1981. It's written by Chris Claremont, who basically redesigned the X-Men back in the 80s. And the artist was Al Milgrom. I'm not the biggest fan of the artist. Not a bad artist at all. I'm just not a fan of his style. So, yeah. Interestingly enough, we have 7,500 editions. That's a new one. And we have a list price of 10 gems. Which I find, well, how should I say it? Disappointing. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a little bit disappointing because this is a book that, again, people will like this book. There's a lot of fans of Rogue. It's not the most expensive book. Not at all. But people really like it. X-Men fans will really love it. I mean, I'm a fan of the X-Men. I love Rogue as a character, so I want this book. And people want it, and that's the reason Veve tears down the editions. This could have easily been 10k at least, but no, we get 7.5, and I'm almost thankful that it's at least 7.5, but it's only 7.5 because it's not such a classic book. If it was worth more in the aftermarket as a physical, I'm sure we would see like 5,000 editions, so that's weird. But since there is demand, they take a list price of 10 gems. Now that's not bad, it's just 3 gems above the price we usually pay. But as a comic collector, there's like a golden rule. If I go to my LCS, to my local comic book shop, I go there and there's a new book. Like there's a book that is just released and the book is above the retail price. I wouldn't buy it, and I can tell you a big chunk of these shops' customers wouldn't return to the shop. Because it's like a golden rule. You don't take extra money for a book that is wanted. Not when it's released. It's a pretty different thing afterwards. Like 6 months later, do another price. Totally fair. Nobody will complain. But in the week it is released, you don't usually raise the price because there's high demand on that book. Because that's why you are the LCS. That's why we can go to you, and when we're fast and quick, we can get it for a retail price. And this is something Veve, again, is not acting like it's a collector's app. It's acting more like they are the middleman that tries to sell you stuff that is already a collectible but was released somewhere else. But we can't access that somewhere else because Veve is actually the first retailer, and that is bad. So this 3 gems extra is just disappointing. And leave it at 10k. Like, if we ever get people in the app that collect, 7.5k is not nearly enough. So, but it seems maybe they are not even, I don't know, it just, they do stuff that makes me think they don't have enough faith in their own product. Like, do they think they never get enough customers, or let's say collectors, that really want this book, so that 7.5k is too much? Do they think they have to take 10 gems now just to make up for the lower edition size? Because afterwards they don't think there will be enough fans that will actually buy this book? I have no idea. I actually saw a video today that the only reason the app is still alive is mostly because the whales keep collecting, while the regular fans more or less stopped collecting. Yeah, so that's weird. And I know, this is totally nitpicking. I know, if 10 gems, 7 gems, who cares? But I care because it changes our relationship. Like, I don't feel like... Before that, it was like Veve was my LCS. They changed it up when they changed the price for AF15 to 20 gems. But that was something where I said, okay, that's a very, very special book. Okay? You can say it's like a 1 in 100. So that's a different thing. Then you can say, okay, it makes sense that this is more pricey. But this is not the priciest book. Like in the real world, if you get this in a 9.8, you're looking at $900 to $1,000. That's not so much. That's not a million. That's pretty big difference between $1,000 and $1 million book. So yeah, that's weird. I mean, this book is in high demand. Even if you buy it without a grade, without a slab, you're still looking at $60 to $70 usually. You can sometimes get it for $30, but usually you will have to pay $50 to $60. So this is a book with high demand because a lot of fans want it, but there's also a lot of book on the CGC census, so it's not that expensive, even as a 9.8. Also, this is one of the most ridiculously ugly covers ever created. It's super funny. I mean, this is the first appearance of Rogue, and it's the first cover appearance of the blue girl here, Mystique. Yes, Mystique is her name. And we have a ton of other characters here. We have Spider-Woman, Iron Man, Captain America, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Wolverine, Professor X, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Storm, Kitty Pryde, Thor, you name it, they're all on there. It's Beast, whatever, you see them all. It's a lot of stuff, but there's also a weird ad on the top with the with the bicycle, and it's just so weirdly framed. It's just an ugly cover. Let's be fair, it's an ugly cover. I want it because it's the original, but it is also a little bit ugly. Then we have the uncommon that is ugly as hell. And then we have the variant by Creasley, and I really love Creasley's work. So he does a great job even on the variants. Like this is one of the variants. I usually nitpick a lot on the Veve exclusives because they don't seem like they took a lot of work. This is different. This looks like there's some work. There's some background, there's foreground elements. Basically 3 characters. Let's say 2 half characters and 1 full character. So that is pretty dope. Actually, for the rare, I would have preferred if it's completely black and white. I don't know, because the line work looks so great. I would have preferred it to be completely black and white, but whatever. And here we have the colors with Rachel Rosenberg's colors. Also great. I love how she used that golden light in the background to actually create a difference between foreground and background. Awesome work there. And if you wonder why there's Thor and Captain America laying on the ground, Rogue's powers is when she gets skin contact to someone, she can take all the powers of the one she touches, and also a little bit of their likeness, of their character, and that will usually drain her victim. So she can take the powers of both of them, knock them out by doing it. So that's what she's doing. That's why she's taking the glove again, because she took away the glove to touch them. Yeah, that's pretty great. The secret rare, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Al Milgram, so it is what it is. I don't think it's great, but it's fine. It's fine. It's okay for secret rare. But I totally like the exclusives here. I think they look great. Yeah, so we talked about the comic. I told you about the prices and what I think about the Veve price. Yes, I guess that's everything for the Veve comic book. Yeah, so let's switch over to DCNFT. So that's the one happening a little bit later. So we don't have details about it yet, but I don't know if I will be able, or no, I do know I won't be able to drop a video when we have details. Unless we got details now. I actually going to take a quick look. No, there's no details. So all we know is that the drop is also happening today at 9 AM PT. And it will be Wonder Woman 204. And which is funny, everyone thought Wonder Woman will be next, like the first appearance of Wonder Woman. That's not happening. It's the first appearance of Nubia, which will eventually become a Wonder Woman herself. But she's like the first black female DC hero. That's the key significance here. She's the first appearance of this character, or the book is the first appearance of this character. So, pretty interesting with this book. I was looking up the prices for this book, and this is not expensive. Like, you can get the 9.8 of this book for roughly 1,500, 1,300 to 1,500, and which was quite surprising, to be honest, because the thing is, there's only 5 books on the CGC census graded at a 9.8, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because this book is it has a lot of yellow on it, and the yellow color is really prone to get dirty, get color cracks, so it's hard to get this in high grade. Also, oh, I was wrong with the price. I just remember. Oh, I switched comic books in my head. I'm sorry, I was wrong with the price. So you can't get this book for 1,300 to 1,500. My bad. That was totally a false claim. The last time this book was sold was around that 1,300, I guess, 1,200, 1,300. That was the last time this was sold. But there's only 5 on the census. And as far as I know, there have been bids going on, and people were offering up to 5k to buy this book, and nobody took this 5k yet. So I think in reality this book is worth more than 5,000 actually, because there were offerings in that realm. Nobody took the money. And Yeah, what's funny is you can get pretty high grades of this book for pretty reasonable prices. Like you can get an 8.0 for less than 500. I even saw one go for 350. Like this is really cheap. A 7.0 around 300. So I don't think this book will perform very well as an NFT because there haven't been high prices for the book. I mean, we've seen that with Detective Comics, with the first appearance of Robin, the prices are really not that high. And I still think if the highest grade of that book hits the market, it will, in my opinion, hit $1 million. I think there's a good chance for $1 million. But the last one is just so long ago, and it was less than 200,000. And I guess that's because that's the reason why it's not ranked so high on the NFT marketplace. And I think this book here will have the same. I think you will get it pretty cheap in the aftermarket because people don't think it's a pretty expensive book. But I think in this case, I think this is a sleeper for a physical book. Looking at the prices, I'm not sure. But if this thing is going to get into the TV show, movies, whatever, I think the character has a good chance to go into TV or movie shows. Like it's a female characters, and we know female characters get a little bit pushed nowadays. And she's also a person of color, so that is also something that is pushed nowadays for TV to push diversity. And yeah, I think there's a good chance we see a Black Wonder Woman on screen at some point, and then this book will take off, really take off. And there's not many on the CGC census. There's, if I look at, if I remember correctly, it was less than 300 editions on the CGC census, with just 5 9.8s. All the other grades were about 20 to 30 editions. So I don't know. I think this thing is cheap in the real world as a physical, and that's why I think it will perform pretty bad as an NFT. But I also see chances there. Like in my opinion, it would be pretty good idea to pick up the NFT because it's cheap, and I don't know, maybe it's even a good time to pick up the physical. But no financial advice here, of course. It's just my opinion. But yeah, when I looked at the prices, I was pretty surprised how cheap this book was. Because it's hard to get in a really good grade. I mean, it's not the biggest character you know, but I think this character has good chances to become something in the future, to get bigger. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's all for today. So please remember, Reese is on the German TV channel for an AMA, and of course we will have the conversation in English. Pretty sure about that. So yeah, it's 7 p.m. German time today. So if you can make it, that would be great. So I will link it in the info box so you have a good chance to check it out. And yeah, that's it for the day. I'm happy to have you here. Please leave a like or subscribe even if you care. And yeah, we see us for the next drops when I do another video about that. Bye bye.